And on the high table as well, we have the person who is championing President Julius Maada Bio's agricultural initiative, which is Feed Salon, which is Dr. Musa Henry Parker. He is also with us on the high table this morning, and together we'll all be discussing this huge visit, what it means for Sierra Leone, and how it could transform food systems in our country. On the high table as well, we have the Honorable Minister of Trade as well, who is also very, very integral in this conversation this morning. I am Mohammed Jawad Nyale, and I will be moderating this press conference this morning. So, because of that, I want to start with the Minister of Agriculture this morning, given that he is the primary host of this huge press briefing we are having this morning. How much does this visit mean to Sierra Leone, Doctor?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for graciously hosting us. Your Excellency, my colleague ministers, other ministers in the room, and the press, good morning. For us and me personally, it's been a very rewarding week to have the former Prime Minister and the chair for AGRA board here with us. He came at the invitation of His Excellency, the President, retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Maada Bio, to come and see what we're doing and to see how he can help us based on what he's doing now and what he has done in the past for his own country when he led it. If you know a thing or two about Ethiopia, it is now years away from the stories we used to know about Ethiopia. And all of that started with a transformation in their agriculture, in their food systems. And His Excellency Hailemariam was one of the leaders, if not the ones that laid that critical foundation for that takeoff. And since then, that takeoff has been very smooth because it was rested on a solid foundation of some basic fundamental things that they got right, including getting their people behind them for the change that they wanted to see. And so, like I said, to be in his midst for a week now, almost, it's been pleasure, it's been learnings, real practical leadership experiences, things that we have doubts about, and he can just say, no, that's not the way you do it. If you do it this way, you can do it faster, you can do it better, and all of this. So every moment has been one of joy, one of learning, and one of inspiration to be able to do what we're doing more, better, and even faster. He wanted to come and engage us because he could see that in Sierra Leone, the transformation and how you transform food systems and agriculture, that we have the ingredients here, starting from top leadership to the ecosystems and to the moves that we're making, that he sees so very well from where he sits already. And so he also is very eager, because of how he did it, to engage the populace, to engage the people. So he say he want to talk to people in a salon, the opportunity, the potential where we get, and waiting in don't see. So he decided to come here at this press conference. We have been engaging with the Minister of Trade and the ministry, because the Minister of Trade, the Ministry of Trade, and other ministries are very critical to Feed Salon. So really, we have been co-hosting this, and so it's with great delight that we have him here. So, Mr. Moderator, I think with your permission, we'll have the Prime Minister tell us what he's seen, his impressions, what we can do better, and how we can make this really work, and then we can jump into questions for the Minister of Trade and I and himself if he doesn't touch on anything. Thank you.
Lots.
First of all, thank you very much, Minister Musa, and Minister of Trade and Industry, and Deputy Ministers among us here, We had a very inspiring week together with you. I would like to thank the government and people of Sierra Leone for inviting me to see your beautiful country, who has got huge potential for development. And something which I want to reflect in this press conference is, for any transformation to take place, we need 4 ingredients. The first one is the highest leadership in the country are on the top of the agenda. That I witnessed myself, the president, ministers, deputy ministers, experts, every one of you bought the vision, feed Salon. And that is one of the critical ingredients to bring about transformation in a sector or in a country. The second one is a vision, policy, and strategy. And you do have a vision in the different sectors. When I was climbing the stair for this press conference, I saw feed salon, I saw clean salon, I saw digitized salon.
Salon.
So all these are vision that everybody has to buy in, and I think that is in place. And you do have also strategic plan, and as well as implementation plans on place. So I think this is critical. The third one is the institutional capacity to implement on this vision and the strategic plans. And I have seen that you have the necessary minimum institutional capacity. I do not mean that you have built in everything finished capacity, but there is a need to support the existing capacity to implement this vision. Finally, the capacity to mobilize all stakeholders, including partners. I have been engaging with all the partners throughout the process, and to me, the most important partner is our farmers, both male and female farmers. I have seen them. In most cases, the women farmers are so strong when I saw on site, and I think that shows that everybody is engaging in implementing the vision the country has. So that is the basics. In our trip, we started with an exemplary work the president is doing in an integrated farm systems in his own farm. That's also very much exemplary. Everybody can do if the president can do it with all his busy schedule. If he can do that, I think many others can do it. So the thing is not the size of the farm. What matters is the quality of the integration that's happening there. That includes crop production, horticulture, aquaculture, poultry, all those things combined together as a transformational vehicle. That's an example that can be scaled to everybody. Every plot can have all kinds of packages that can bring about a change. But the most important thing is not visiting the farm. It was just an issue there. But the whole thing is he made a conducive environment for me to discuss with the ministers. And we discussed for more than 4 hours there what Sierra Leonean vision is and how we are implementing the things. And I tried to convey and try to transfer some of the best practices I have seen in the transformation process in other African countries, including my own country, Ethiopia. Of course, Ethiopia is not the only country who has shown some transformational things in its journey to transform agri-food systems. We have Rwanda, even in West Africa, a country, Mali, no one can expect that Mali is the course of transformation in agri-food systems, given the political situations you see now. But Mali is one of the top scorers of biennial review in the CADIP process. And the minister knows that. So I think we have a number of best practices that can be emulated. By the way, in my very short visit here in Sierra Leone, there are areas where Sierra Leone also can contribute to the other African countries. The way how the women cooperatives are functioning in yesterday's trip to the south, I think is an example. They are doing something very good things. Of course, there are a need to support in some areas, but the beginning is very good, and that can be enhanced. So that's what I have seen in Sierra Leone. Beyond that, one thing which I appreciated the most is how the private sector is working with smallholder farmers. We visited the day before yesterday a seed processing factory. In that factory, you see that seed production is done by the private sector as well as by smallholder farmers. And agronomic practices, basic seed supplies, and all these things are done by the private sector with the support of government. And I think this is the basics for everything. So a clean processed seed is supplied to the farmers, which is a basic. Of course, given the potential of Sierra Leone, that has to be scaled up. It's not enough. That's only at the infant stage. It has to be scaled up. But the basics is there. And the farmers are working with private sector. I have seen it, and they are supplying seed to the private sector to be cleaned after producing it. So this is one of the things which can be emulated to other African countries as well. Beyond that, something which fascinated me is the engagement of young people in mechanization and increasing the mechanization capacity of Sierra Leone. They were in the training. I have seen that. I think it is like 160 trainees on the job at that moment when we visited, but nonetheless this can be scaled up and even modernized by using certain platforms like Hello Tractor, in Kenya, in Zimbabwe. The young people are engaged in such kind of platforms. They give services to the tractors. They also train with the tractors, rent the tractors with a digital platform, understanding where the tractors are, how efficiently can the tractors be used. They even move to combine harvesters and mechanizing the whole process, including water pumps that can be used for shallow wells. So that is one of the things which I have seen, and that is one of the best ingredients that can be scaled up. Again, we moved into an onion farm, a modern onion farm, which is using drip irrigation as well as sprinkler pivotal irrigation, modernizing irrigation itself. And more than, I think, 4,000 farmers are supplying to, producing and supplying to the private sector to inundate the market. They reached only 80% of Sierra Leone, but they can go beyond that to export. But this is something which the private sector, working with smallholder farmers, to increase productivity and bring about food security and food self-sufficiency in Sierra Leone. So these examples can be emulated to other sectors as well. So we have ingredients already on the ground. I am very much impressed seeing all those things. It is because there is top leadership buy-in and leadership given to implement all these things. I thank the ministers for all they are doing for this, but there are areas where there is a need for more cooperation, more support to come from my own organization, in building the capacity. You have that capacity, potential, but that has to be unleashed. And we are ready to support in building the capacity through, for example, agricultural transformation organization that works on the binding constraints in the system itself, addressing the systemic bottlenecks. And if the systemic bottlenecks are addressed, then we can have a better flowing system that can expedite transformation in Sierra Leone. So in short, I think there are basic ingredients. Sierra Leone is taking off, but the most difficult moment in development trajectory is the taking off. You know, like if you have an analogy with with an aircraft with taking off, the most difficult moment for the aircraft is that taking off moment. When it reaches its level, then I think it's easy for the aircraft to fly without any problems. Of course, that doesn't mean that there is no turbulence in between. There are turbulences in between, but you can address those turbulences easily than when it happens during the taking off. So I think this is what I have seen firsthand, and I have no idea where to engage and how to support this process to move expeditiously, because it's a sense of urgency. The climate change is changing everything, and that calamity has to be addressed quickly. So with that urgency, Sierra Leone can be one of the examples in the African continent in addressing the vision of Feed Salone.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for giving us insights on how much we have done so far. This gives us a lot of confidence that indeed we are on the right track with Feed Salone. I'm now coming over to you, the Minister of Trade. How much are we doing to make sure we build the necessary market systems to leverage what we are doing with Feed Salone at the moment?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Your Excellency, sir, colleague Minister Musa, Deputy Ministers here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Honestly, Your Excellency, you have been very inspiring. We have been motivated by two things here. Your presence here has gone a long way. Firstly, it gives us a lot of confidence that we are on the right track and we'll get there. And secondly, that the road to success is not easy. But if we are committed, and I still remember your emphasis on coordination. That's why myself and the Minister of Agriculture are sitting here, will work towards that. In addition to that, His Excellency President Julius Maada has also made farming very sexy and attractive. Today, the way they look farming is different. Today, all man one-ton farmer. So I think we are on the right track on that. For the Ministry of Trade, we are primarily in the trade sector, processing and manufacturing, or more important, in value addition. You know, in all that is being produced, we have to create an environment for trade, because it is from trade that those farmers who produce can create wealth for themselves, can create jobs for themselves. Wealth creation, job creation is also on the trade side, a lot of it. As we are now, we have a few challenges as a country. Some are difficult, but they are not insurmountable. We are working seriously when it comes to trade. Our trade infrastructure, we are working on it. We know what are some of the limitations. We are fastly working on them. Like I spoke here the other day, a key area that is important for you to participate in both local and international trade is meeting local and international standards that are set there. There are certain requirements you must meet if you want to export. If you want to actively participate in the FTA, you must be able to take advantage of your own comparative advantage, and you should be able to compete. So in that regard, we are strengthening the standards below. We are bringing the private sector to make sure that we improve the standards there to ensure effectiveness and efficiency. We are far advanced with that. We are also working on our trade facilitation. We have delays in certain areas where we experience unnecessary delays, where that increase the cost of doing business. Some of them have not been friendly. We've received a number of reports from the ports management, and again, the number of checkpoints in country. Recently, I had a discussion with police who have reduced the number of checkpoints in country by 20%. That has also contributed to the reduction in the cost of selling rice and other essential commodities. We are working around that. And as I talk to you now, we are not only a signatory to the HCFTA, but we are also working hard to make sure we are ready for it. We are working towards the guided trade initiative, which will allow us to be able to export. And the only way we can export is to produce. So likely we have to support the farmers to be able to produce, and the surplus there is what we can export. So as I was talking to you, and I have a team of technical experts from the headquarters of the HCFTA. They are helping us to be ready to fully participate in the process itself. We are also members of the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme. Already we are making progress. We have key areas we are exporting now. For example, vegetable oil. We are net exporters. We export to other countries. Cassava, gari, cashew. These are things we're taking advantage of. But it could be better if we improve on that. On manufacturing and processing, we are also creating the environment, for storage, packaging, and distribution. We are supporting the ministry in that direction. And again, let me give you a small history here. When it comes to the establishment of industries and manufacturing, SLPP government has always taken the lead. The first Industrial Development Act of this country was done in 1960, presented by Samuel Magai, and Industrial Wellington Estate was established in 1961 when we attained independence. And we all know it was the mother of major industries in this country until the war, when most of those factories were burnt down. And a little recently, since His Excellency President Julius Malala took over, we've also increased our percentage of GDP from 3% to another 22% when it comes to manufacturing. And the number will only go up. We are working hard towards that. All this is happening because we are creating the environment. And the only way the industries can thrive is we have the raw materials. In this case, these are the agricultural products that are required. Listening to His Excellency, also, and following the visit we made to Ethiopia with President Bio, we are opportune to visit some integrated farms and industrial parks or special economic zones. They are amazing, absolutely amazing. The jobs they provide, the services, the facilities they provide, support everybody in the community, from farmers, exporters, those in the value chain. Everybody benefits from it. As a government, we are working with a company already Arise. We have secured the land in Sogo, and we have completed the necessary studies. By all other things being equal, we expect to set up or to start the construction of factories in that economic zone very, very soon. Before the end of the first quarter of this year, that should have commenced. We are also working closely with the United Nations Development Organization, they are doing some feasibility studies in 3 regions in order to identify those regions where we can establish agro parks, and what are the comparative advantages of those regions if you want to establish these agro parks. We have the draft study for 2. We have asked them to increase it so that there is 1 agro park in 1 region. Those studies are ongoing. The data and information generated from that will determine the agro parks. All of these we are doing simultaneously. It's a holistic approach. We are not waiting to say we have to make sure the farmers are ready before. The farmers are ready. They are able to produce more than enough to trade before we start manufacturing. We are doing this collaboratively, and we are working closely with the Ministry of Agriculture. His Excellency has inspired us, and we listen to him keenly. We've learned a lot of lessons, and key amongst them, I will not forget, is it's not easy to get there. We should be bold and be willing to make mistakes. But the most important thing is we should be ready to learn from those mistakes. You can't keep repeating the same mistakes, then there is a problem. So with these few words, I thank you.
All right. His Excellency, whilst you were making a statement, you remarked on climate crisis around the world. With the work you are doing,
you see that the mountains are becoming degraded. And I also been informed that there has been landslide, which devastated and killed a number of people because of human intervention, which has not been checked and addressed. So I think these are the results. Climate change calamities end up in either drought or flooding, or landslide in the form of different other manifestations. So I think this needs mobilizing our people. If I give you an example, Ethiopia is hit hard by the climate change, not now, 40 years ago. Since 40 years, it is extremely becoming worrisome. But what we did was all our mountains were, we have made every farmer to be convinced to give free labor for 60 days a year. And then the terraces that have been made on top of the mountains has made the soil to be conserved, the water to be conserved, and horticulture crops, high-value crops were planted on those terraces. And the soil is stabilized, so there is no landslide, there is no degradation of the land anymore after those interventions has taken place. So Sierra Leone has that possibility to do so. Ours is much more mountainous than Sierra Leone, when I see that. I thought, somebody told me, I asked why the airport is built on the other side of the ocean. And somebody told me, oh, there is no land, flat land around this area. But that's not true. Because when I moved, both the north and south, except when you get out of Freetown, all the land is flat. So that I came to know that's not true. But the thing is, even though you have those hilly areas, if not properly soil and water conservation works done, then expect a number of calamities can happen in the future as well, including wildfire. So I think this is an important intervention. In all our agricultural and farming practices, we have to put in mind that sustainable farming practice is very important for the future. We cannot destroy our forests, we cannot degrade our land and soil, and we should be able to do so. I think that's how we are trying to work in Agra and other countries together to have carbon sequestration to mitigate the climate issue. But ours is mostly adaptation, and we have to adapt to the climate change through technologies and interventions. And this is what we can do.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for those remarks. So I'm coming out to you, to the Minister of Agriculture, before I now go for questions. How can we leverage a partnership with AGRA to tie into the vision for Feed Salon and His Excellency has set for all of us?
Thank you very much. We're already doing quite a lot actually with AGRA. One of the main areas we're working with them is on our seed systems. As you all know, and His Excellency is really aware of this, the seed system has to be the start of all of this, if you like. And they've been helping us put together sound policy around that, but also taking that policy into practical ways we can give good seeds in a predictable manner where the farmers know they're getting good quality seed on time to farmers. We piloted something small with them, and we're working to really do that in a much bigger way. AGRA, we're hoping the way AGRA works is they have priority countries. Sierra Leone is not at the moment a priority country, and I think we're hoping with His Excellency's visit and his role as the chair of the board, that the next time AGRA is choosing countries, that Sierra Leone can be a country that AGRA selects. if that happens, we can get quite a lot more resources. In my previous role when I was at Gate, I know foundation support, or Gates Foundation support, Rockefeller, they get a number of support to other places, but also the technical expertise and the experiences they can share. So really for us, from the Accra front, that's a thing we're hoping to benefit from the Prime Minister's visit. On a personal level, the Prime Minister is now a true friend of Sierra Leone, and I call him a personal friend of mine. Lots of leadership skills and lessons that we've discussed. And so that relationship is going to be going on. He's done this in Ethiopia. Ethiopia has 120-something million population. They're flying, if you like. They took off and they're flying, they're cruising. And that relationship to his country personally and other things, I think those are the things that we can stand to benefit. Of course, he's a brother to the president. They talk. The president was really impressed with, when he was there, he got the Agricultural Transformation Agency that reported straight to him. And all the ministers that had anything to do with agricultural transformation, finance minister, the bank governor, trade, everybody, reported straight to him to unblock things to make things happen. And at the farm, His Excellency, the Minister of Finance and Deputy One were there. I think the first thing that came out of the Prime Minister's mouth was, if the Minister of Finance is not giving money, we call them and say they give money and say, yes, please continue, go on, go on. So he's been the most powerful, effective advocate for Feed Salon in what we're doing, and I have no doubt he will continue being that to His Excellency, to the people of Sierra Leone, and to myself as I lead in this transformation that we have taken on. Thank you.
Right. So let me now open the floor to questions. We'll do 2 sets of 5 questions. So raise your hands if you want to ask the question about what we are having a conversation about. And please, the same rule applies. So 1 question per person and no preambles. Yes, sir. You are number 1 from Expo Times. Number 2. Right. So after we take this first set of questions, we'll get answers and then we'll come back to you guys. Expo Times, please.
Good morning, I'm Hailemariam for Expo Times.
Okay, just use the mic, please. All right.
Good morning, I am Hailemariam working for Expo Times newspaper magazine. To the Minister of Trade, in your statement or in your submission, you made a mention of the reduction of checkpoints across the country, which has, according to you, which has led to a reduction of price of commodities across the country. Does in any way the checkpoint in Sierra Leone affect the price of commodities? If yes, how? Thank you.
All right. We have a gentleman over there.
Yes, my name is from Expo.
Just before the politics.
Yes, former Prime Minister, in your statement, you did say that farmers are selling their produce to private sector to be cleaned. Have you any plan for these farmers to be trained on how to clean up their produce before sales? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. There was a hand on this other end as well. Yes, Calabash newspaper right here in front.
I write for the Calabash newspaper. His Excellency, when you look at, I have done some research about Ethiopia, and you look at some of the challenges are just similar. That of climate change, access to resources, market system, research and extension services, they are all similar. So my question, what was the secret for Ethiopia to emerge as a country that is known for agriculture, and where about 50% of the GDP is coming from agriculture? And from what you've seen in Sierra Leone, are you optimistic that we'll be able to reach there as a country when it comes to the Feed Salon initiative?
Okay, I think we are open for 2 more questions for this first set. And but in the meantime, let's just get responses whilst put yourself together for more questions. So I'll start with the Minister of Trade and I will come to His Excellency to respond to that question.
Yeah, thank you. Across Africa, we all know we have, when it comes to trade facilitation, checkpoints, major inhibitors. They affect the free movements of goods within and outside the country. So as a country, you have to make conscious efforts to make sure you try to reduce them. In the first place, we have those, I will not translate the word legal, but that are required to make sure the customs, security reasons and the like, that's fine. But then we need to duplicate them after every 30 miles, after every 15, 20 minutes, you have how do I call it? You have a roadblock or a station there to check for whatever reasons. You are definitely affecting the free flow of goods and services, either imported or locally produced. And if you are delayed, you are increasing, unnecessarily increasing the cost of those who are either going to sell, and they will end up shifting that cost to whom? The eventual buyers. So eventually, it's us, the major customer, who are strongly affected by that. So as a government, and as a ministry, we have to work closely with all players, including the police, to make sure we reduce most of this along the roads.
Right, His Excellency, I think you have to
thank you very much. Important questions. The first thing is, seed has a system. Seed starts from having a basic seed production, and then again, after the basic seed, seed that's to be planted or sowed, and it continues on in the system. Now, our farmers in Sierra Leone has no proper cooperatives to run these kind of institutions like we have seen in the private sector. For now, they have to depend on the private sector for cleaning the seed, because that facility is not an easy facility. It needs capacity to run that facility. At this time, our farmers do not have that facility. That doesn't mean in due course our farmers will not have that capacity. They will have. I have a number of examples where the farmers are involved in seed production, seed processing, and seed packaging, and then seed distribution. So that calls for a strong cooperative. And I am glad, that's why I mentioned the cooperatives are very important farmers organizations that can do that. And when I see in the southern part, in the city of Kenema, we have seen farmers already organize themselves in the cooperatives, and they started processing cocoa. See, even they have small facilities to process up to some stage, and they are continuing to do that. So that capacity is needed at the moment. Maybe in the coming 3, 4 years, 5 years, these farmers will be able to produce their own seed cleaning, starting from basic seed up to packaging to distribute the seeds to the respective farmers. I think what we have done in Ethiopia is not a rocket science. It simply needs commitment. You know what? That's why I say I have witnessed myself that in Sierra Leone there is that commitment. If this commitment continues on for the sizable years, like 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, you will see that take off in a proper manner. So the president is at the top of this agenda. No president gives time from his weekends on Sundays to invite and accept a leader from East Africa and sit down with him and discuss 4 hours about agricultural transformation in a country. To me, that's a sign of transformation beginning in Sierra Leone. And I discussed on Monday the whole day with Chief Minister, convening his ministers together for the whole morning and then afternoon. So imagine what all this means. So it is a sign. To me, it's a sign that's what I was doing to bring about this, this change in my own country. So that's number one. Number two, they are eager to build the capacity, their own capacity, both in terms of policy, regulations, as well as technical capacity. So I think this is also basic for transformation, as I mentioned. And this is in place. Of course, there are a number of things that has to be brought in as best practices to unlock the binding constraints in the systems. You know, we have seed system, fertilizer system, extension system, research system, and market system, finance system. All these systems has to be addressed in order to bring transformation. So I am, let me say, I am 100% optimist. If there is a percentage beyond 100, then I would say, because that's the basis. But it depends on how they move with this commitment sustainably and persistently. One of the problems in Africa is something starts and after sometimes it cools down. So that if the leadership, that's I warned time and again, the president and the leaders, don't even take your eyes from the focus you have already given. So just a level beam focus is needed to bring about this transformation. That was the one thing which I can say as a leader who has been tested in this kind of platform. That's the only thing I can say. If you detract yourself from the focus you are giving now, then don't expect transformation to take place. So I think I'm confident. There's no need to tell to them, but I have to tell because I know there are some places where it has started in a very high spirit and it slowly declined in some countries. So I don't even say this will happen in Sierra Leone. So I think with this persistent engagement, I am optimist that transformation will come in this country because the conditions are ripe. There is potential there. You have very industrious people who can unleash their energy, their power, their understanding. And when I saw women in the pineapple farm, each one of them with their plot, with beautiful pineapple which has come up. Most of them are young women who did that. So there's hope, because if young people are engaged in agriculture, Sierra Leone has hope. 70% of your population is young. So I think that's why I say I'm 100% optimist, and I'll continue to do so. And I'll continue also to do my own share, to continue engaging with the ministers here. The president himself is always open, and his doors are open to me as AGRA chairperson, but not only as AGRA chairperson, but as Pan-Africanist. I have a stake. I believe that I have a stake in Sierra Leone because I'm an African. And so I have something to share as an experience from what I had in my own country. Thank you.
Thank you very much for inspiring us. Doctor, do you want to add something on the questions that were just asked by journalists?
I think the Prime Minister so eloquently described those systems which I wanted to comment on, and we can get further questions. It's inspiring just listening to him, and I'd rather just do that than speak today.
All right, so let's take some more questions in the room as well. Yes, we have a gentleman right there at the front, and then we have Charles Mambo as well, respected civil society member who is in the room. Where's our mic runner? And then we have a gentleman in the back, Almami as well, who comes to you. Yes, sir.
I am Prince Christopher Kumar, right, for Open Space newspaper. Thank you very much, for your insightful presentation, and of course, the statements from the two ministers present. We have countries in Africa, like the Gambia, for example, their cash crop, main crop, is groundnuts. Ghana, we know them for, is it cacao or cocoa or whatever. Now, in all your, your inspection trips that you did around Sierra Leone, what major crop, cash crop, do you think can be produced in this country that will actually cut across all of the crops? Thank you very much. Charles?
Thank you, Your Excellency. I think I want to agree with you most by saying that sustainability is actually a major problem in Africa and perhaps beyond. And that sustainability sometimes comes when there are political changes, there are leadership changes, both either at the State House or at the office of the ministers or others. Those coming after them will actually not agree to sustain the good things that others have done. In Africa, generally, we are not good at praising people who have done good after they have left office, and you cannot be there for a long time. You have a time limit. So, Your Excellency, two major areas in Sierra Leone is actually affecting our agricultural productivity, and I want to see how we can come in to help us. One of them is value chain addition. That is very critical. It needs both finance, technical, and the manpower, but mostly finance and technical. Across the country, as you move around, you find out that we have the crops, you know, we have the manpower, but the finance and technicality are actually in a very, very slow demand. The second aspect is also distribution, which we actually talked about, but that distribution is also hung upon the type of feeder roads that we have, because most of these 70% you talked about are actually in our rural communities, where feeder roads to those areas are extremely in very bad condition. How could you use your influence, direct and indirect, to support Sierra Leone in terms of getting technical assistance, in terms of road network, as well as adding value to the produce that we have already?
Thank you very much. I think we have a gentleman in the back, right there.
Hailemariam Desalegn, working for our newspaper. Basically, this question is going to the H.E of Agri. Of course, Sierra Leone has so many, porous borders. You know, for example, in Clarina district, Cambia, and the rest. So, the board of chair of Agri, what can Sierra Leone learn in tackling these porous borders? In terms of area of smuggling the goods across the border of interstate.
Okay, I think we have space for two more questions. I'm sorry you have asked the question, please. So let's just give a chance to who may want to ask question. All right. So let's proceed again, Your Excellency, to respond to some of those questions.
Okay. In my own country, if I give an example, before coming to Sierra Leone, you can't start something which you don't have, or some examples or experiences exist. So we do have, we are the origin of coffee. So we do have coffee, and we modernized our coffee sector. So now we are getting around $2 billion from coffee. So our cash crop mainly is coffee, okay? Because we do have that. So you also start from what you have. What you have is cocoa, which we have seen already. The farmers are growing it, planting it. But you start from the seed of cocoa. And you have to get the best seed globally of cocoa if you want to excel in the competition. We have number 1, number 2, number 3 globally. The quality of coffee is that of Ethiopia. Number 4 is Colombia. So you see how we moved to that level of competition globally. So you are not competing with Ghana. You are competing globally. So I'm not worried about the poorest border. I will come later on. Your competition is global. When you start to bring the seed, you think of that market, the global market, where the cocoa is sold or processed and sold. If you have to process, then you have to compete with Switzerland for the chocolate, not with Ghana. If you do that, then you will have a proper seed which can compete with that of the Swiss chocolate. Then you can survive. So when choosing the cash crop, it's a progressive process. You start first by selling the beans. And I know that most of the Sierra Leonean cocoa is sold as a bean, which is processed by someone else outside. But slowly you increase your capacity to go to that level. There is a strong competition, and they will tell you, Europeans will tell you that you don't meet the phytosanitary and sanitary standard that Europe wants to take. You have to go by your tooth and nail to reach to that level. Then you can compete. Until then, cocoa is a cash crop that you can sell beans and maybe chocolate for the African market. Then slowly to the global market. So it is a process. And the second one is cashew. Cashew is one of the things that can be exported from this country, but not raw, packed, and all the standards are met. So these are the things which I can say, but I will not prescribe now. The experts should come and see, make a diagnostic analysis. That's mainly our problem, we just sit down and use the Kim Il-sung type of leadership, which says, arrest this guy, people arrest. Kill this one, people kill. Sow the cashew, then people start sowing. So that I don't agree. We have to depend on our experts. There should be a proper diagnostic analysis. Which crop can Sierra Leone excel in the global market? Our expert has to bring this to the political leaders. As a political leader, I will not say that this is suitable for Sierra Leone. I will depend on my experts to bring to me, analyzing everything nitty-gritties that can make Sierra Leone to be competitive in the global market. I just say this off the cuff, but it cannot easily be implemented. So we have to be very careful in just saying, what can Sierra Leone be? I can only suggest. Then the experts can go into the details and say, your suggestion is correct, or your suggestion is wrong. So we opt for this rather than this. So I think this kind of exercise has to be done. That's why systemic bottlenecks has to be addressed. You have to see things in their systems all along from beginning to the end and see how we can compete both an African market and the global market. I think this is how we should see. On sustaining policy implementation, yes, there is a problem. In a democratic society, leaders change and leaders' vision might change as well. This is normal. But there are areas where every leader can agree. For example, cocoa export, any leader coming to Sierra Leone should agree. Because cocoa is a Sierra Leonean wealth, and that can be exported everywhere. Why should we quarrel about cocoa export in Sierra Leone? So what should be done is there should be a national dialogue on the basic understanding. And everybody has to agree. Everyone, including the school children who are aspiring to be the next president of this country, has to agree on basic things in Sierra Leone. So we should have a national consensus, national dialogue, where things do not change every time from zero. So the problem in African leadership is zero-sum game. When they come to power, they just destroy everything what somebody has done, and they start from scratch. This doesn't develop a country. So that's why a democratic consensus is needed in a country. A dialogue is needed in a country so that basic Sierra Leonean tenets will be delineated and everybody agrees on them, but the rest you can compete, you can contest. Like, for example, in the health policy, I will supply this medicine in this way, and the other one say I will supply the other way. You can contest on that. But on the other hand, in agricultural transformation in Sierra Leone, if you contest on that, then the country fails. Because no country in the world has developed without transforming its agricultural sector. Full stop. If we agree, all of you agree that, then any president comes, yes, I have to focus on agriculture and food systems. So I think that is how sustaining policies can come about. I think the porous border issue, it's a colonial border. To me, the bigger we are, the most we can compete in the global market. I suggest ECOWAS has to expedite integration quickly. So if you think that Sierra Leone alone can compete in the global market, it's a mistake. That's why we decided the African Continental Free Trade Area. And everybody has to trade with each other, and our volume has to increase. I can give you a simple example. When we were asked to export banana from my own country, and the demand of those countries who wanted banana from us was 12 containers a day. And I thought that in the southern part of Ethiopia we had lots of banana plantations. I thought that would be enough. But after we started the job, in 2 days, the whole banana finished. And 24 containers has taken whatever I thought many bananas is in the country. So we are still at the lower stage in scale. If you want to scale, then you have to integrate. Integration is much more better than just thinking about this is porous border, the little I have to sell. This is a poor mind thinking. We have to expand. The more bigger we are, look globally. Which countries are leading this globe now? It's China with 1.4 billion population. It is India with 1.5 billion population. It's Brazil with 300 something million population. It's United States with 300 something million population. Not 8 million, 10 million, or 12 million. We can't compete this way. We should go to the extent of integrating Africa as one of the big competitors in the global market. That's an example. Look the Asian countries, the Northeast Asian countries. The Northeast Asian countries, Japan has started transformation, but immediately it is contagious. Taiwan, Korea, and then the ASEAN countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, which were 40 years ago poorer than us, now are wealthy countries. Why? Because they integrated. And we are still, the colonial master has did this bad job by balkanizing us, cutting down into pieces. And we want to remain as cut down in that pieces what our colonials did. No, let's integrate quickly so that we can compete globally. We are not competing with Ghana. We are not competing with Guinea. We are competing globally. So we need to come together, be strong and large in size, and scale up our production so that we can survive in the global environment. So I think that's my answer, and don't worry about the poorest border. There's your brother coming in, or your brother's community coming in, and let's see them further into the bigger picture.
Let me come to you, Minister of Agriculture, on everything that we've had today. And Your Excellency, I must also thank you because this has been more than a press conference. It has also been a masterclass for us in your experience and what you have done in Ethiopia so far. But to the Minister of Agriculture, we've had some of the questions. For example, especially that question on value chain and how much we are doing to scale up.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. On value chains, I think the civil society group got it right. It's an issue. We need financing, we need those roads, the infrastructure are there. We're out there with road shows trying to get money to be able to do that. It's a key part of what we want to do. Your Excellency, the Feed Salon strategy was informed by a lot of technical work, and you got it right. Cocoa, cashew, those are things that we should be exporting. But your message that we need analytics, we need the technical people to inform us, is one we take very seriously. But really, as we close here, I really want to thank you on behalf of His Excellency for not only visiting us, but for talking to the people of Sierra Leone. This press conference normally happens in our local language. Many radio stations across the country are listening to you now. And your Pan-Africanism, what you bring from Ethiopia, from Agra, but where you want to see us, where you see we can be. The people who have heard it, they are inspired. I am inspired. I am very inspired. And you've made my job somewhat easier. This is a tough crowd. I think one of the things that you touched on, that as I've been interacting and I'm really glad it came up, is how we are able to mobilize our people to be on the same page. That's really the tenet. The Prime Minister said in Ethiopia they were able to get everybody. Those of you that study, Ethiopia used to be known for farming. They said we don't want to be known for farming. We want to be known as the place where life started. We want to be high up there. They rallied everybody and they told them, we have the land, we have some rain, and we have you. Go to work. That's what we need in Sierra Leone. That's what they did. So that message coming from him and the successes that we're seeing, I think is so powerful that we ought to be able to take and do here as well. The other message the Prime Minister said, and I can talk this about Creole in our local language, he said this year, 4, 5, 6, 7 years before we begin to see the big thing. So people that now, they can't know after 1 year, say, within 1 year, we're not seeing that thing go back alone. The Prime Minister has done it. He knows it takes 5, 6, 7 years of pressing for you to get that takeoff in a sustainable manner. We will keep working hard, very hard. And we hear you, we know you're saying that because times are hard, but it takes time. And what the Prime Minister also told us in private is, press on, don't stop. He says, put cotton buds in your ears. If you got your right strategy, you got your right move, keep pressing on and just go. You will find out one day that you've taken off, and that's the path we're on. And I'm so glad you, one of the most Pan-African leaders, can come speak to our people on this matter that we're leading. We thank you very much. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we draw the curtain down on this very, very special press conference. Thank you very much, His Excellency Hailemariam Desalegn, for being with us. Thank you very much to the Minister of Trade as well, Honorable Hailemariam Desalegn, and of course, so Dr. Henry Musa Paka, who is also our host, and who is doing an incredible work with Feed Salon. So please, some decorum please. So we'll now stand, we take picture, a group photo, and then after that, His Excellency and ministers will depart the room. Thank you very much.